Hello, welcome to episode 44. And I would like to talk about the Borderland tonight or today, whenever you're listening. The Borderland. Let me start reading a little bit about that. I love the way it starts. And it's part of, I believe, chapter 26 is what I remember. Yes, chapter 26. And section 3, complexity is not of God. Set my timer here. How could it be when all he knows is one? He knows one creation, one reality, one truth, and one son and daughter. Nothing conflicts with oneness. Nothing conflicts with oneness. I want to stop right there. Tonight, it's taken me a half an hour to get into my Zoom account to make this video. That is oneness. Even though it does not appear to be oneness, what is the borderline? The borderline is going to tell us is that right place. That's what other people, I believe, would call a pointer, a doorway. It says, it will tell us there in a minute. How then could be complexity in him? What is there to decide for its conflict that makes choice possible? I'm going to skip a little part and come back. There is a borderline of thought that stands between this world and heaven. It's not a place. And when you reach it, it is apart from time. And I would say it's apart from experience. So we say, oh, I'm in the flow. My day went so well. That means everything I wanted, I got, or I accepted it rather easily. Well, last night I couldn't get into my computer. It was completely frozen. But I chose to be one with that. I canceled the place I was supposed to be to lead a class, co-lead a class with my buddy Dove. I said, I'm sorry, I can't be there. I felt strongly that I was to go to the Apple store. I did not have an appointment, but I went there in total kindness and said, please, could you take me tonight because I can't get into my computer? But I wasn't stressed. I can't say I was happy. That would not be true. I was a little bit stunned, but I was open. I was open to finding out what was supposed to happen. I knew I was supposed to go to the Apple store and not be at that meeting. That was very clear. And I had a wonderful experience at Apple. They spent a whole hour with me with kindness, and it was like I was a gift because I was teaching with all the problems I had. I wasn't teaching in a class. I was teaching the tech all the things he needed to learn from his supervisor. So there was a supervisor standing over the shoulder of a younger, newer tech, and they thanked me for bringing in my problems. They thanked me for being patient. Who was helping who? That's what the Course is always teaching. We're all here as one. There's no teacher, there's no student. We're both students, we're both teachers, right? Easy to feel that when we're in the flow, but we're also in the flow when our opinions are not leading us to what we would like, what we would prefer. So how could this be the doorway into more peace, into more okayness? Well, last night, I ended up feeling so taken care of because for the last 3 years since the pandemic, you couldn't just walk in an Apple store and get help. And certainly they never stayed an hour with one person. I've never experienced that. It would be between 10 and 20 minutes, depending on how difficult your problem was, or how they could get you out and moved on. You know, that's just part of the game, or they would tell you to come back and make another appointment or something like that. So what did I take away from yesterday? Wow, I am so taken care of. Can you believe how the Apple Store took care of me? Now tonight, I've been on Zoom already today. Why did Zoom think that somebody else was checking in to my account? They wouldn't let me into my own account. And then I have a secondary Gmail account that I don't use. I only use it for Zoom. Who can remember why I did that? But there was some reason. I couldn't find that account. I never use it. It's only for Zoom, and Zoom and I don't email together. So it took me more time to find that account. I mean, I knew what the account was. It's listed, but I couldn't get in because I just couldn't find it. So my verification code expired. And what does the Course tell us always? That in our frustration, in our triggers, in everything, all things are lessons God would have me learn, right? Well, it is right. So let's find out more about this borderline, because I'm having an opportunity. And at first, over the years, I always thought the borderline was like the space before you went to ecstasy. You know, when all of us used to imagine what nirvana would be, or what a real spiritual awakening would be, or being enlightened would be this ecstatic experience. And this was the borderline to that. So I didn't pay much attention for 20, 30 years to the borderline, but no, the borderline is any moment, I believe, where we're just outside of oneness in our forgetting, and we step over. And I think we have an easier time recognizing both the borderline, the place where I was kind of stunned, and you wouldn't think stunned is a doorway, a portal to something else that is quite beautiful. Oneness has no opposites. Oneness has even no choosing, because there's nothing to choose from. There's no conflict. And this episode says it so beautifully. It says, what is there to decide? For it is conflict that makes choice possible. The truth is simple. It is one without an opposite. And how could strife enter in its simple presence and bring complexity where oneness is? The truth makes no decisions, for there's nothing to decide between. And only if there were, could choosing be a necessary step in the advance toward oneness. So basically it's saying, when you go through the door, there's no more anything to choose because you're in the oneness and it has no opposite. But before then, it appears as though there's a choice. What is everything leaves room for nothing else? If we are filled with the peace of God, if we are filled with oneness, if we are filled with trust, that means yes to my computer being busted, yes to needing a verification code, yes to finally getting in my extra Gmail account, and it's too late, yes to that too. And that's where it matches up with one of the doorways, portals, openings into non-duality. And that's what this is talking about. There's only one. Well, non-duality uses the term welcome. Welcome. I wouldn't have it any other way. Just keep going. Just give me more verification codes. Let me try again. And when I tried again to get in, and they told me, they even had something that said you were a little late, but go ahead in. This is a computer generated message. I had to laugh. You really had to laugh at this stuff. What does it matter when I get in, right? Time isn't real. It feels real, but it's not. Why does everything leave room for nothing else? Oh, God, I love that line. Yet, is this magnitude beyond the scope of this curriculum? Nor is it necessary we dwell on anything that cannot be immediately grasped. So first it tells us, hey, you guys, you're making it way more complex. That is not of God. Problems, complexity, you don't get it. That is of the ego. And it tells us again, there's a borderland of thought that stands between this world and heaven. So anything that says I shouldn't be having a frozen computer, I shouldn't be having verification codes to get into my own computer. It's not a place. And when you reach it apart from time, here's the meeting place where thoughts are brought together. That means there's no conflict. The thoughts are brought together. This borderline is just beyond the gate of heaven. That's such a wonderful line, isn't it? I think when you can find heaven right here in the conflict, in what you didn't wish for, by welcoming it, you've stepped over the portal into heaven. Here is every thought made pure and wholly simple. Here is sin denied and everything that is received and said. This is the journey's end. We've referred to it as the real world. And yet there is a contradiction here in that words simply imply a limited reality, a partial truth, a segment of the universe made true. This is because knowledge makes no attack upon perception. They are brought together and only one continues past the gate where oneness is. Salvation is a borderland where place and time and choice have meaning still, and yet it can be seen that they are temporary, out of place, and every choice has already been made. There you go. There's non-duality right here. It's just an illusion of choice. Nothing the Son of God believes can be destroyed, but what is truth to him must be brought to the last comparison that he will ever make, the last evaluation that will be possible, the final judgment upon this world. It is the judgment of the truth upon illusion, of knowledge on perception. It has no meaning and does not exist. This is not your decision. It is but a simple statement of a simple fact. But in this world, there are no simple facts, because what is the same and what is different remain unclear. The one essential thing to make a choice at all is this distinction. And herein lies the difference between the worlds. In this one, choice is made impossible. In the real world is choosing simplified. Oh my goodness, all of those lines and all of those times we say choose again. Oh my God, we can get beyond choice. We can get beyond choice. Let's do a little meditation now. What in your life have you been pondering a choice about? Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I say yes? Should I say no? What feels right to you? Does it feel right to be choosing and obsessing and wondering? I know you've been in earnest. You're wanting to find the loving choice, wanting to know what God wants for you, asking Holy Spirit. Maybe there is no choice in your mind. Maybe you've just had some disruption. Your phone's not working, your computer's not working, can't get in your Zoom account. Things happen. Are you 100% in favor of whatever has happened? That's trust. No doubt, no fight, no resistance. So let's just pick up whatever it is that we've been uncomfortable about. And let's name that number of discomfort. 10 the most upsetting, 3 to 6, somewhat upsetting, and so on. Take a deep breath. Come with me into the water that flows through your body. Tingle your fingers, wiggle your fingers, and know that your fingers are the extension of God. You are what God is. You're flowing through your body with the water. And now you're going out with your energy from the water to the fingertips, out into the room. And the room is holding you like you've never been held before. The room is welcoming you. The room is glad to have you. What does it feel like to be received 100%? The room is also what God is. There's no distinction between the Son of God who has a body and the energy around you, the planets, the trees. Lots of times we talk about the Father, but the Father is the holding. The Father is the oneness. There is no Father and Son in the oneness. There's only the one. There are no opposites. There's no right and wrong. It just is. You just are. Every time there's two in your thinking, you can go to one. How to go to one is there is a space, there is an observer, there is a quality, a something, a nameless something that notices the two. And get one step behind the noticer of the two. And what's there? Something that notices the noticer. Now, sometimes people say, I don't know. There's nothing. Good. The nothing. The nothing is everything. You're it. You know it. You were expecting a form. You might have been expecting a vision. What if the nothing is everything? God is not a chatterbox. You are the light. The light doesn't perceive itself with a glow. You are the originator of the light. The sun is not lit up by its rays. It's self-sunning. It's self-lighting. It's the emanator of the rays. It's nothing. It's everything. You're there. You're it. There is no you. There's only the one. Notice your breath. Come back into the room when you can. Now, go back to the issue that was disturbing. Have you not entered a different space? Never mind what we call it. Never mind. You know the oneness now. You know peace. Have you become more relaxed with what was upsetting? Can you approach this world with that deeper experience of oneness? Is not this your special function where the separation is undone by change of purpose in what once was specialness and now is the union? All illusions are but one. And in the recognition so lies the ability to give up all attempts to choose between them and to make them different. There is no conflict here. No sacrifice is possible in the relinquishment of an illusion recognized as such, where all reality has been withdrawn from what was never true. Can it be hard to give it up and choose what must be true? How lucky are we to have this material, to have each other, to have the experience of oneness. What are your questions? Verbalize them. I was in a meeting the other day when people started admitting, I don't get this. I don't get the oneness. I don't get the perceiver. I don't get how you bring this world into that world. I like to do A Course in Miracles and non-duality and just let it rip and just kind of flow and pretend that I'm in all the worlds. You know, I'm in oneness, I'm in choose again, I'm in trust, I'm in Holy Spirit. You know, just make an unconscious living experience out of it all. And that's fine. We've all been there. But there's something to being very, very conscious of where are we? Are we in the borderline, or are we committed to conflict? Are we in the oneness? Are we committed to the oneness? Or are we committed to our identity as a separate person? If we're not in the oneness, that's what we're choosing. Let's just be honest about it. We say we have unworthiness and guilt and shame, but we have a great love for this separate self. And that's what we hold on to when we create conflict. And I found so much value in this meeting where people just honestly were saying, I don't get it. And then nobody tried to give it to them. Nobody tried to say, well, this is what it is. That was what was so beautiful. People just laid it on the table and we said, yeah, puzzle piece, you'll get it. Thank you for sharing. It was such a fresh experience. And if somebody wanted some assistance to say, how do you see this? Then somebody would say, there is support and help available always, but one doesn't need it for the oneness. In the oneness, peace is available right now, right here. So I challenge you to spend a moment and ask yourself, where is your time spent? When your only goal is oneness, that is where you'll be, period. And when your goal is to hold on to the remnants, the rags that are left of your identity, and that's where you'll be. And there's a great relief in being honest. You don't have to tell anybody, just tell yourself, I'm holding on, and this is how it looks until it's different. And you might find that by telling the truth, even out loud to yourself, that you have a new moment. And that's what the borderline is about, stepping into this new moment. Oneness is always available right now. Namaste, everybody. Bye-bye.